Hello everyone, my name is Daniel and this is my video on Graves' disease in teenagers. I was diagnosed with Graves' disease when I was 16 and this is the video that I wish was available when I was diagnosed back then to learn about what to expect. In this video, I'll be covering the main aspects of Graves' disease. This includes what is a thyroid, what is Graves' disease, how is it treated, and finally, my personal journey with Graves' disease. The thyroid is a butterfly-shaped organ located at the base of the neck. It's part of the endocrine system and is responsible for releasing certain types of hormones. The thyroid itself is regulated by the hypothalamus, a neurosecretory organ located at the base of the brain. The hypothalamus detects thyroid hormone levels in the blood and programs the pituitary gland to release thyroid-stimulating hormones to increase or decrease thyroid hormone production as needed. The thyroid's main job is to release hormones that control metabolism. Metabolism is the process of how the body turns food into energy and then how it uses that energy. Since every cell in your body requires energy, if your thyroid does its job wrong, it can affect your whole body. The hormones produced by the thyroid are T4, thyroxine, which is the most common but doesn't have much of an effect on the body. T3, triiodithyramine, less common but more effect on regulating metabolism. RT3, reverse triiodithyramine, this reverses the effect of T3. And calcitonin, which regulates calcium in your blood. Your thyroid hormones also affect these other areas of your body. Heart rate, breathing, body temperature, digestion, brain development, mental activity, and skin and bone maintenance. The thyroid itself is regulated by the hypothalamus, a neurosecretory organ located at the base of the brain. The hypothalamus detects thyroid hormone levels in the blood and programs the pituitary gland to release thyroid-stimulating hormones to increase or decrease thyroid hormone production as needed. In Graves' disease, this means the immune system, for unknown reason, attacks healthy tissues in the thyroid, specifically the receptors of thyroid-stimulating hormones. Because of this, the thyroid excessively produces hormones which then go off to affect the whole body. The largest issue resulting from hypothyroidism is an increased metabolic rate. This leads to weight loss and being skinny, even though you still feel hungry and can eat a lot. It also leads to lower energy levels, making it harder to exercise and increasing recovery times. Another noticeable effect is on the brain, where increased brain activity and racing thoughts make it harder to focus on tasks. Another effect on the body of increased metabolism is always being hot, even in cold weather. This is how Graves' disease was explained to me. The thyroid produces hormones which go do their job around the body. The body then sends feedback to the brain, which interprets this message and sends a new message to the thyroid, telling it to produce more or less hormones. However, when someone has Graves' disease, the message between the brain and the thyroid gets interrupted and rewritten to tell the thyroid to produce as much hormones as possible. The thyroid receives this new message and produces far too much thyroid hormones. This happens over and over again. The brain is trying to tell the thyroid to work less, but the message is being overwritten and the thyroid is ending up working more due to the autoimmune antibodies interrupting the message. Here's a little example. As bad as this all sounds, there is a solution. There are three main treatment options for Graves' disease, which I will discuss. These are medication, surgery, and radioactive iodine. With medications are given to decrease the production of thyroid hormones by the thyroid and to block the effect of the thyroid hormones. The goal of medications is to end up having a fully functioning thyroid which does its job properly and as it should. This is the longest process, but the one that is most optimal. For many people with Graves, this is the only treatment they will ever need, and may even lead to remission from the disease. Unfortunately, it does involve daily medication which may need to be taken for multiple years. The two main medication types are beta blockers and antithyroid medications. Beta blockers are medications that block the effects of the thyroid hormone in the body. This doesn't stop the production of hormones, but it makes them have less of an impact on the body. This is important as the thyroid hormones affect the whole body. Two commonly used beta blockers are propranolol and metoprolol. Antithyroid medications block the production of the thyroid hormones. This means that the thyroid produces less hormones, so the body is impacted less. A rare side effect of antithyroid medications are lowered white blood cells. White blood cells protect your body from infection, so if they decrease, your body can't fight viruses and bacteria well, which can become quite dangerous. But thankfully, there is a very low chance of this happening, but some people have to have a blood test to check for this when they feel sick. The most commonly used antithyroid medication is carbimazole. Here's a little example. Once diagnosed, you'll likely be prescribed a large amount of two types of medication, the beta blockers and the antithyroid medications. And you'll have to take these around up to three times a day. As hormone levels decrease, the amount of medications can drop and may move to having them only once a day. The beta blockers are usually stopped when thyroid hormone levels return to normal, as they're no longer necessary. The antithyroid medication may need to be taken longer, even over many months, gradually reducing the dose until levels are stable and the thyroid is functioning normally and they are not needed anymore. For some people, medication becomes unnecessary because the disease goes into remission. This process involves frequent blood tests, more when you are first diagnosed and less as time goes on, to check your thyroid function. There is a risk of too much suppression of the thyroid, so changes in medications need to be made carefully. Remission is unfortunately not guaranteed. Many people can live happily while taking the antithyroid medications to keep symptoms at bay for a long time, maybe even permanently. There are also the two other solutions to Graves' disease. The two main alternate treatment options are surgery and radioactive iodine. The surgical option involves surgically removing the thyroid. Because the thyroid has been removed, there is no natural thyroid hormone production. Fortunately, there are tablet versions of thyroid hormones that replace the ones that the thyroid used to make. This makes sure that thyroid levels are normal, but it does mean that you'll have to be taking the pills for the rest of your life. The surgery also leaves a thin scar at the base of the neck. Radioactive iodine is the other option, which obliterates the thyroid, but leaves the person without a scar as the thyroid remains in the body. The radioactive iodine is absorbed by the thyroid and essentially kills it. This makes the thyroid no longer function and has the same outcome as the surgery option, having to take thyroid replacement medications for the rest of your life. There is a small danger with this option, as the radioactive iodine is indeed radioactive. This is why it isn't recommended for kids, as it could cause harm and stunt their growth. Graves' disease affects everyone slightly differently. This is my experience. I was diagnosed with Graves' disease in early April 2023. I initially went to my GP because I was hot, tired, and found it hard to sleep. I had also lost a large amount of weight and I was struggling to focus in school. My fitness had also dropped to the point where I could no longer participate in sport. I got a blood test and then I was diagnosed with Graves' disease. It was difficult to accept, but I got support and help from my family and friends and kept going. I went to an endocrinologist who prescribed me a lot of medication which I had to take quite often. My thyroid hormone levels quickly became normal and my medications have dropped down to 2 carbimazole daily. A year later, I'm doing well in my classes and I actually feel the cold. This was a shock to me because I used to be sweating in cold weather in my shorts and shirt when everyone else was wearing jackets. I get enough sleep, so I'm not always tired, and my fitness has improved to allow me to rejoin my school's football team. But even though Graves was tough, it didn't stop me from doing the things I wanted to. It just made some things a bit harder. When Graves was at its strongest in me, it impacted all the areas of my life. Even so, I was able to go on tramps, camps, and holidays. Graves was a struggle, and it still is, but it is something that doesn't stop me from doing the things I love. I made this video to raise awareness of Graves' disease and to give those who found out that they have Graves' disease better understanding and hope for recovery. Graves won't be something I'll have to deal with for my whole life, but it is something that has helped me grow as a person.